There is this Stoic saying, "Strong minds suffer without complaining, while weak minds complain without suffering." Suffering is an inescapable element of the human experience. The question, then, is not whether one will encounter suffering, but rather how one chooses to respond to it. The choice of moaning about circumstance is an approach that, far from alleviating suffering, only magnifies it. That's why the Stoics endured suffering with grace, because the most enduring virtues are forged in pain and suffering. And thus, to endure suffering without complaint is not just a way to cope, it is a way to emerge stronger, wiser, and more powerful. Lesson 1. The Art of Perception and the Power Within. In the theater of life, where the external and internal worlds collide, we find ourselves often ensnared in the drama of attachment and emotion. The Stoic philosophers, with their profound understanding of human nature, teach us that the essence of our suffering lies not in the events themselves, but in our perceptions of them. Marcus Aurelius, a sage whose wisdom transcends the confines of time, illuminates this path with his assertion, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This statement is not merely a call to passive acceptance, but a powerful declaration of autonomy over our internal state. To navigate the tumultuous seas of relationships and the inevitable loss of loved ones, we must first anchor ourselves in the understanding that our perceptions mold our reality. The anguish of loss, the sting of betrayal, and the shadow of loneliness are, in essence, reflections of our internal dialogue. By shifting our perspective, by choosing to see the lessons in the loss and the growth in the grief, we transform our experience of these events. This transformation is not a denial of pain, but an embrace of it as a catalyst for growth. Aurelius teaches us to look within, to find strength in our capacity, to reframe our perceptions, to detach from the externalities that we cannot control, and to find solace in the fortress of our minds. In this lesson, we are called to practice the art of perception, to question the narratives we weave around our attachments and emotions. It is in the questioning that we find liberation. By adopting a Stoic approach to our internal narratives, we cultivate a resilience that is impervious to the vicissitudes of life. This resilience does not render us emotionless, but equips us with the wisdom to experience our emotions without being enslaved by them. It reminds us that within the core of our being lies an indomitable power, the power to choose our response, to choose our thoughts, and to choose the tranquility of our inner citadel over the chaos of the external world. Through this Stoic lens, we begin to see that the essence of letting go lies not in the act of severing ties or erasing memories, but in transforming our relationship with our emotions and attachments. It is a process of alchemy, turning the leaden weight of loss into the gold of wisdom. As we delve deeper into the Stoic teachings, let us carry this lesson with us, a beacon of light guiding us through the darkness, reminding us that the key to freedom lies not in changing our circumstances, but in changing ourselves. Lesson 2. Embracing rationality in the face of emotion. In the grand narrative of our lives, the tension between reason and emotion plays out on the stage of our minds, often dictating the course of our relationships and how we process the loss of loved ones. Stoicism, with its emphasis on rationality, offers a counterpoint to the tumultuous sea of emotions that can sometimes overwhelm us. Marcus Aurelius, a beacon of Stoic thought, implores us to employ reason as our guiding light, navigating through the storm with a calm and steady hand. It is through rationality that we discern the nature of our attachments, separating what is within our control from what lies beyond it. This lesson delves into the transformative power of embracing rationality, enabling us to face our deepest emotions and the reality of loss with equanimity and grace. The role of rationality in emotional attachment. Rationality, in the Stoic sense, is not the suppression of emotion, but the harmonization of emotion and thought. It is the practice of examining our feelings with a critical eye, questioning the validity of our immediate reactions, and considering the broader perspective. When faced with the pain of a broken relationship or the grief of losing a loved one, our first instinct may be to succumb to despair or anger. However, by applying rationality, We begin to see these experiences not as mere sources of suffering, but as opportunities for growth and understanding. Aurelius teaches us to ask ourselves, is this within my control? This simple question helps us to focus our energy on our response to loss rather than the loss itself. It is a profound shift that moves us from a place of victimhood to one of agency, empowering us to navigate our emotional landscapes with wisdom and purpose. Cultivating rationality amidst emotional turmoil. The cultivation of rationality amidst emotional turmoil is a deliberate and often challenging process. It requires us to pause, to breathe, and to engage with our thoughts and emotions from a place of mindfulness. This practice is akin to tending a garden, where rationality is the tool we use to prune the overgrowth of irrational thoughts and nurture the seeds of tranquility and acceptance. As we reflect on the impermanence of relationships and the inevitability of loss, rationality guides us to accept these truths not with resignation, but with a heartfelt understanding of the natural order of life. It teaches us to cherish the moments we have with our loved ones, to let go with love rather than bitterness, and to find peace in the knowledge that our capacity for love and connection is not diminished by loss, but enriched by it. Through the lens of rationality, we learn to see every ending as a part of the beautiful cyclical nature of existence, fostering a deep and abiding peace within the sanctuary of our own minds. Lesson 3. The Stoic virtue of acceptance. In the complex web of human existence, acceptance stands as a pillar of Stoic philosophy, offering a serene path through the trials of loss and the intricacies of relationships. The Stoics, with their profound insight into the nature of life, advocate for a deep acceptance of what is beyond our control. This lesson explores the Stoic virtue of acceptance, not as a passive resignation, but as an active embrace of life's ebbs and flows. By understanding and practicing this principle, we can approach the loss of relationships and the inevitable changes in our lives with a peaceful heart and a clear mind, finding strength in surrender and wisdom in the acknowledgement of life's impermanence, embracing change and loss. The essence of Stoic acceptance lies in recognizing the impermanent nature of all things, including our relationships and the people we hold dear. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This poignant reflection on mortality encourages us to live with intention, cherishing each moment and each connection, knowing they may not last. When we face the end of a relationship or the loss of a loved one, acceptance allows us to let go with grace, honoring the transient beauty of our shared experiences rather than clinging to them with despair. This practice does not diminish our capacity for love or joy. Rather, it deepens our appreciation for them, making each encounter more meaningful and each memory a treasure. Finding peace in acceptance. The journey toward Stoic acceptance is a path to inner peace. It teaches us to differentiate between what we can control, our actions, our responses, our attitudes, and what we cannot control, the actions of others, the passage of time, the inevitability of death. By focusing our energy on our own sphere of influence, we cultivate a sense of equanimity in the face of life's uncertainties. Acceptance becomes a source of strength, enabling us to face adversity with a calm mind and a resilient spirit. It allows us to experience the full spectrum of human emotions, grief, sadness, joy, love, without being overwhelmed by them. In embracing acceptance, we find a profound freedom. The freedom to live fully in the present, to love without attachment, and to navigate the complexities of life with a wise and open heart. Lesson 4. The Stoic approach to facing adversity. Adversity is an inevitable part of the human condition, challenging our resolve and testing our strength. Stoicism teaches us to face these trials with courage and wisdom, transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth, turning obstacles into pathways for growth. In the face of adversity, whether it's the loss of a relationship or navigating the tumultuous waters of emotional upheaval, the Stoic principle of turning impediments into advantages comes to the fore. Marcus Aurelius famously stated, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This mindset encourages us to view each challenge not as a barrier to our happiness or success, but as a chance to practice resilience, patience, and fortitude. By adopting this perspective, we learn to embrace the inherent uncertainty and difficulty of life, using our struggles as stepping stones to develop a deeper sense of self-reliance and inner strength. This approach does not minimize the pain or difficulty of our experiences, but reframes them as essential components of our personal and spiritual development. Cultivating resilience in the face of loss. The loss of a loved one or the end of a cherished relationship can be among the most profound challenges we face. Yet within this realm of suffering, Stoicism offers a beacon of hope. It teaches us that while we cannot control external events, we can control our reactions to them. This realization empowers us to approach grief and loss with a balanced mindset, acknowledging our pain, while gradually finding ways to incorporate the lessons learned into our lives. Stoic resilience is not about suppressing emotions, but about allowing ourselves to feel deeply, all the while remembering that we have the strength to persevere. As we navigate through our sorrows, we forge an indomitable spirit, prepared for the vicissitudes of life and capable of finding tranquility amidst turmoil. Through the Stoic practice of facing adversity with courage and wisdom, we not only overcome the obstacles in our path, but also emerge from them enriched and emboldened. This lesson in Stoicism reminds us that our greatest trials can lead to our most profound growth, shaping us into individuals of depth, compassion, and resilience. Lesson 5. Cultivating virtue in daily life. Virtue, the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, is the beacon that guides us through the complexities of life. It is in the cultivation of virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance that we find true fulfillment and resilience. Living with wisdom. Wisdom in Stoicism is not merely about accumulating knowledge, but about applying rational thought to our daily lives. It involves the discernment to choose actions that are in harmony with nature and our own best selves. In the realm of relationships and personal loss, wisdom instructs us to approach these experiences with a mindset focused on learning and growth. It teaches us to ask, "What can this situation teach me?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" By viewing challenges as lessons, we open ourselves to the transformative power of wisdom. This shift in perspective allows us to navigate the trials of life with a sense of purpose and to make choices that reflect our highest principles. Wisdom also empowers us to recognize the transient nature of emotions and attachments, enabling us to cherish the moments and relationships we have without clinging to them out of fear or desire. Embodying courage and temperance. Courage in Stoicism goes beyond facing physical dangers. It encompasses the moral bravery to stand by our convictions, even in the face of adversity or societal pressure. It means having the courage to let go of relationships that no longer serve us, or to face the pain of loss without losing sight of our capacity for joy and love. This virtue is closely tied to temperance, which calls for moderation in all aspects of life. Together, courage and temperance guide us to live with integrity, making decisions that align with our values rather than succumbing to fleeting desires or avoiding discomfort. Temperance teaches us to find balance in our emotions, to experience them fully without being overwhelmed by them. It encourages us to practice self-control in our reactions, to respond to life's ups and downs with equanimity. By cultivating these virtues, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also contribute to the harmony and well-being of those around us. Lesson 6. Letting go of attachments in Stoicism. Stoicism teaches the art of detachment, guiding us to let go of attachments to external outcomes and possessions. This lesson delves into the Stoic approach to releasing our grip on the things we cannot control, focusing instead on our inner virtue and resilience. Understanding detachment. The Stoic practice of detachment is not about indifference or suppressing desires, but rather about recognizing the impermanent nature of external goods and relationships. Stoics like Epictetus highlighted the importance of distinguishing between what is within our control, our thoughts, intentions, and actions, and what is not, such as the behavior of others, material possessions, and even our own lives. By internalizing this distinction, we learn to invest our energy and emotions more wisely, cultivating a state of inner peace and contentment that is not easily disturbed by external circumstances. This form of detachment empowers us to approach life's challenges and losses with equanimity, embracing the ebb and flow of existence without becoming enslaved by our desires for specific outcomes. It teaches us to cherish and appreciate what we have, while being prepared to let go when the time comes, finding freedom in the acceptance of change. Practicing Stoic detachment. Incorporating Stoic detachment into our daily lives involves a conscious effort to reevaluate our attachments and the value we assign to external things. It requires mindfulness and the willingness to question our automatic responses and assumptions about what is necessary for our happiness. This practice can start with small steps, such as reflecting on our reliance on material comforts or our reactions to praise and criticism. By gradually challenging these attachments, we begin to loosen their hold on us, opening the door to a more serene and liberated existence. Furthermore, Stoic detachment encourages us to focus on our personal growth and the cultivation of virtue, which are the true sources of lasting satisfaction. As we let go of our attachments to the external, we build a strong foundation of character, capable of withstanding life's uncertainties. Through detachment, we achieve a greater sense of gratitude and presence, fully engaging with life as it unfolds moment by moment, free from the burden of clinging to what is ultimately beyond our control. Letting go of attachments, as taught by Stoicism, offers a path to inner freedom and resilience. By practicing detachment, we align ourselves with the natural order of the world, embracing change and impermanence with grace. This lesson encourages us to find strength in our virtues and to live with an open heart, prepared for whatever life brings our way. Lesson 7. Navigating grief and letting go of attachments with Stoicism. Stoicism provides a powerful framework for coping with grief and the process of letting go of attachments. This lesson examines how Stoic principles can guide us through the pain of loss and the challenge of detachment, promoting healing and inner peace. The Stoic approach to grief. Grief, a natural response to loss, can be overwhelming, leaving us feeling unmoored and vulnerable. Stoicism teaches us to accept grief as part of the human experience, encouraging a compassionate and mindful approach to our suffering. Stoic wisdom, as espoused by philosophers like Seneca, emphasizes the importance of facing our emotions directly, acknowledging the pain of loss while reminding us of the impermanence of all things. This acceptance does not mean suppressing our feelings, but rather allowing ourselves to experience grief without letting it define us. Stoics advocate for a balanced perspective on attachment and loss, understanding that while love and connections enrich our lives, our ultimate happiness should not depend on external factors. By internalizing this view, we can mourn the loss of a loved one or the end of a relationship while maintaining a sense of equanimity and resilience. Letting go of attachments. Stoicism teaches us to form attachments mindfully, appreciating the people and things in our lives without becoming overly dependent on them for our happiness. This perspective helps us navigate the pain of separation or loss, grounding us in the realization that our core self, our capacity for virtue, reason, and choice, remains intact regardless of external changes. The practice of letting go is also a practice of gratitude. By focusing on the present and cherishing our experiences without clinging to them, we cultivate a life of contentment and appreciation. Stoic mindfulness exercises, such as reflecting on the transient nature of existence and envisioning the loss of what we value, can strengthen our emotional resilience, preparing us to face loss with courage and to let go with grace. Embracing Stoic principles in the face of grief and attachment challenges us to find strength within ourselves, recognizing that our capacity for joy, love, and peace does not depend on external circumstances. As we continue to explore Stoicism, let us carry forward the lessons of navigating grief and letting go of attachments, fostering a life marked by deep emotional resilience and a profound appreciation for the present moment. Lesson 8. The virtue of temperance in Stoicism. Temperance, one of the four cardinal virtues in Stoicism, teaches us the value of self-restraint and moderation in all aspects of life. This lesson explores how practicing temperance can help us maintain balance and harmony, particularly in the context of letting go of attachments and managing our desires. Practicing moderation in desires and emotions. Temperance in Stoicism is not merely about controlling our physical appetites. It extends to a measured approach to our emotions and desires. Stoics believe that excess, whether in joy, sorrow, anger, or desire, can disturb our inner peace and cloud our judgment. By practicing temperance, we learn to appreciate the middle ground, finding contentment in simplicity and restraint. This virtue teaches us to question the necessity and value of our desires, distinguishing between what is essential for a virtuous life and what is superfluous. In the realm of attachments, temperance guides us to form healthy, balanced relationships, free from dependency and excess emotional investment. It encourages us to enjoy life's pleasures without becoming enslaved by them, thereby fostering resilience against the pain of loss or the fear of missing out. Temperance as a tool for letting go. The application of temperance is particularly powerful when faced with the need to let go of attachments, whether they be to people, outcomes, or material possessions. By cultivating a temperate approach to our attachments, we prepare ourselves for the inevitability of change, reducing the intensity of grief and disappointment when separations occur. Temperance helps us to see the impermanence of external conditions and the importance of basing our happiness on our inner state and virtues, rather than external acquisitions or relationships. This Stoic virtue also aids in managing grief, as it teaches us to accept loss with grace, and to find peace in the understanding that everything in life is transient. Through temperance, we learn to release our grasp on the ephemeral, directing our focus and energy towards personal growth, ethical living, and the pursuit of wisdom. Lesson 9. The Stoic embrace of change. Change is an immutable law of the universe, a principle that Stoicism teaches us to not only accept, but to embrace with open arms. This lesson delves into the Stoic perspective on change, highlighting how this acceptance can lead to a more resilient and fulfilling life. Accepting the inevitability of change. Stoicism, through the wisdom of thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, teaches that change is not only inevitable, but is also a natural and essential part of the cosmos's functioning. Understanding and accepting change as a fundamental aspect of existence allows us to approach life's transitions with a sense of calm and preparedness. This Stoic acceptance goes beyond mere resignation. It is an active engagement with life, recognizing that change brings both endings and beginnings, losses and opportunities. By internalizing the idea that nothing is permanent, we learn to value the present moment more deeply and to let go of our attachments to specific outcomes. This perspective fosters a flexibility of mind and spirit, enabling us to adapt to new circumstances with grace and to find peace amidst life's uncertainties. Harnessing change for personal growth. The Stoic embrace of change also encourages us to see every alteration in our lives as an opportunity for personal development. Change challenges us to grow, to test our virtues, and to practice resilience. It teaches us that our true power lies not in trying to control the external world, but in mastering our internal responses to it. Stoicism advocates for using change as a catalyst for self-improvement, urging us to ask ourselves what lessons can be learned and how we can emerge stronger from each experience. This active approach to change empowers us to live more intentionally, making conscious choices that align with our values and leading us toward a life of purpose and meaning. By embracing change, we commit to a lifelong journey of learning and self-discovery, continually evolving to become the best versions of ourselves. Lesson 10. Stoicism and the pursuit of inner peace. Inner peace, a central goal in Stoic philosophy, is achieved not through external circumstances but through mastery over one's thoughts and actions. This final lesson explores how Stoicism equips us to cultivate a state of tranquility and contentment, regardless of life's external fluctuations, cultivating tranquility through virtue. Stoicism teaches that true peace is found within, through the cultivation of virtue and the practice of reason. By aligning our actions with the principles of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, we create a foundation for lasting tranquility. This internal harmony is not dependent on the presence or absence of external goods or adversities, but on our responses to them. Stoics like Epictetus remind us that our perceptions and judgments are the source of our disturbances, and by training ourselves to view life's events through a lens of objectivity and virtue, we maintain our composure. This approach empowers us to face challenges with a calm and steady mind, focusing on what is within our control and releasing concern over what is not. Inner peace, in the Stoic view, is the natural consequence of a life lived in accordance with virtue, where every thought and action is guided by reason. The role of reflection and acceptance. Achieving inner peace requires constant reflection and an acceptance of life as it is, embracing both its joys and its sorrows. Stoicism encourages daily self-examination, a practice where we review our actions and attitudes, learning from our successes and missteps. This reflective process fosters self-awareness and personal growth, gradually leading us to a more peaceful state of being. Additionally, Stoic acceptance, amor fati or love of fate, plays a crucial role in cultivating tranquility. By embracing whatever life presents to us without resistance or bitterness, we find peace in the understanding that everything happens according to the natural order of the universe. This acceptance is not passive, but is an active affirmation of life, recognizing that even hardships have their place in shaping our character and wisdom. As we step forward from these Stoic teachings on letting go of attachments and navigating grief, remember that the strength to endure and the grace to release lie within us. Our journey through loss and detachment is not a path to emptiness, but an invitation to fill our lives with meaningful moments and virtues. Embrace the wisdom of Stoicism to find peace amidst change, to grow through letting go, and to cultivate a heart that is both resilient and open to the beauty of now. May these lessons be your guide, transforming every goodbye into a step towards inner harmony and every challenge into a beacon of growth. Here's to a life lived fully, with open hands and an unburdened heart.